So the principle I'm gonna show you guys today is insanely powerful. It's basically the idea of creating a force on your opponent so that they overcompensate pushing or pulling back, and you can use that force against them to massively increase the explosion in any attack that you do. So first, I'm gonna go through the basic principle of it, and then I'm gonna give you guys tons of different examples specifically on the mat that you can use in your own game. So the basic idea here is creating a small movement to create an overreaction that we can start to use in our attacks. So just to understand this simply, we'll start with like a lapel grip. So if I'm here and I just push on my opponent a little bit, often they'll give me that little response back. And I don't need to push too much, just a small push. When as soon as I feel that come back, I can pull and create this dramatic pull. Or conversely, if I'm here and I pull a little and I feel him resist back, and now I push, I can create a strong drive. You can also use this with sleeves. If I have a sleeve here and I pull a little bit and I feel I can push. I can create off balances with that. Or if I'm here and I start pushing and I feel a little resistance here, it makes it very easy to disconnect the elbow space to start setting up different attacks. The first technique we're gonna look at using this on is gonna be for creating off balances for overhead sweeps and knockovers from the De La Riva guard or the double sleeve position. We can use this in a few different guards. So the first way is I'm gonna have both sleeves. I have a De La Riva hook and a foot on the hip here. And what I do is I use a light push on their hip with my foot. And usually if you just do a very small push, you can feel their hip kind of resist back because they don't want you to kick them back. So as soon as I do that light push and I feel that, I can pull my knees in and create this nice overhead positioning to go for the overhead sweep. If I'm in this position and I start to create kind of an overhead pull, he'll often resist back a little bit because he doesn't want me to pull him up for that overhead. So again, I don't want to overdo it. If I do it too hard, it's too hard to go back the other way because I'm too tense. Just do a very light pull, and as soon as I feel that weight kind of go back, now I can use both my feet and even the sleeves to create kind of a rock back to start taking him to the other side. So in this case, I have the De La Riva hook and I kind of pull, I feel that, I push back and go this way. If I start to go that way and I feel his weight goes that way a little bit, and I can just kind of shift and pull and move and start feeling the balance and creating these attacks. There's a lot of attacks that we learn and you learn the position for it, but the timing of feeling the body movement really adds a whole other layer to your offense and the force in the moves you do. Another way you can use the same idea is when we're in the De La Riva controlling the ankle. So from here, the off balances are very similar. I can do a light push on the hip, and when I feel that response back, I pull my knees to my chest and the sleeve. And now I create this off balance overhead. From here, he can post his free hand because I don't have both sleeves, but this is very easy to take him this way, and you can use this to go into different berimbolo and back take options. Conversely, if I kind of pull on the sleeve a little first, a lot of times I want to kick this leg out like this to either go to a single leg guard game or maybe even to lift up and go for a De La Riva deep lace like this to go to De La Riva X. So again, when I'm here, I'm just kind of moving around and creating small little off balances until I feel that resistance back this way, and now it's really easy to push him out. If he's just here really square and I start pushing, he can be very strong and it's hard to push the hip out. But then I pull, now he backs up a little bit, and then I push out, go here. Or I pull, he backs up a little bit, and then I use that to lace, switch up into a De La Riva X, and I can start attacking from here. So the next one is one of my absolute favorites, which is for the loop choke. This push-pull combination with the collar is amazing for catching the choke, but realistically, it just annoys the hell out of your opponent. I mean, you off balance them so hard when you use this. You can use it to go for the choke or just to sweep them or whatever you want to do. So there's a few different ways you can set up the loop choke, but I always have to have the collar. In this case, I'm going to be in collar sleeve. I have the sleeve with one hand, the collar, and the foot on the hip. I like this position because it threatens the omoplata triangle attack a lot, and it takes the guy's focus off the threat of the choke. But one thing that happens here is the guy gets really tight, so sometimes I just push a little bit. I can even let go and try to shove him over and go for an attack here. But a lot of times when you start pushing here, even if I let go, he resists back because he doesn't want to go back. And this makes it way easier to snap him down. And now I kind of turn my wrist in like this to kind of catch his neck. This loops over top of the head, comes underneath, and I can throw this leg over and go for the choke. Even if we're just starting a match and I'm here like this, and I start collar dragging, pushing, as soon as if I just pull here, he's gonna resist, right? But when the match starts and I start pushing and I feel, you get that pull so strong and can really catch the guy off guard. Next, we're gonna look at using this with sleeve or elbow controls. This is powerful because when you create the push and your opponent pushes back, it makes it super easy to overextend the arm, which makes it really easy to go for triangles, omoplatas, arm bars, and if you were standing, you could even use this principle to set up judo throws. If I'm in collar sleeve, I have the sleeve here in the collar, and I'm attacking the far side, so I have the foot on the hip and the leg is back. A lot of times your opponent wants to make a grip with this. So if he's trying to grab the hip, I keep my elbow up and make that hard, but a lot of times they'll try to grab the lapel here, right? So what I'll do is I actually push to kind of block him from grabbing the lapel with this arm, right? And then he starts compensating, and then when I pull, it creates this huge overextension that makes it easier to go for omoplatas or shoot for triangle chokes. So the next one I'm about to show is one of my favorites, but before I show it, if you guys are enjoying the content in this style of video, be sure to leave a comment and give me more suggestions and topics for future videos. So the next one we're looking at is using it for toreandos, throw bypasses, or really passing in general. This is awesome when you're on bottom, but when you're on top, the amount of extra movement you can get to compound with this creates so much explosion. Using this in toreandos, it feels like a small little adjustment, but it literally like 5x's the force because your opponent goes from resisting to negative resistance. It's not just they're not resisting. Now it's like they're going with you. So you create such a powerful push when you do toreandos and throw bys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the pant leg with the right hand and some grip here near the knee. And what I do is I do a slight little push to one side first. So instead of just trying to pass, what I'm gonna do is I just kind of do this with my arms just a little bit. And as soon as I do this, he almost thinks I'm gonna be passing to this side. And almost always, if you just do this with your partner, they resist their hips back to this side. So what it looks like is I just go here and he resists back a little bit, and then I go to this side. It creates a tremendous force. I could even be over here and pull this way, and when he resists back a little bit, I pop. Another common situation that happens here is as I'm controlling the legs, he puts the feet in the biceps a lot to try to stop me. So I'm gonna use this against him. So when I let go and I pummel, a lot of times I use my palm first to control the leg because I can put weight down on the shin. So when I do this, I make a grip. Now as he tries to put that foot in the bicep, he builds up a lot of force, and it makes it very easy to go for a throw by and create overextension and turn to go for the attack. There's this big pattern in jiu-jitsu where when my opponent's legs are tight, often I jam their knees to their chest to create passing opportunities. But a lot of times your opponent extends their leg out, and if you can get the leg extended far enough away from their body, it's hard to recover and allows you to set up different guard passes. So this push-pull mechanic works amazingly well for this because when you shove in on the leg, they often push back, allowing you to set up great opportunities. A lot of times I'm in the De La Riva guard and my opponent holds my pant leg or ankle like this. So what I'm gonna do is control the pant leg on the cuff or on the outside of the knee. And a lot of people are used to the top player pushing this leg, and I do that. But a lot of times what I do is I pull this back. And it's kind of weird. People aren't used to it because when I pull this back, he actually can't put his hook in. He needs a little bit of space and separation to set this hook, right? So when I pull this in, he can't do that. And a lot of times they get frustrated. After a little bit, they'll try to pull their knee to their chest to try to get their leg to have movement to move. So I'm gonna use that against them again. So I'm here as I pull, and now as he pulls his knee to his chest, I use that to create that separation and go for a pass here. So I'm here pulling, he starts to pull the leg back, and I go there and drop for a pass. This is super unexpected and explosive when you do this at the right time. I can even do it on the other side. I can pull this leg back, and when he pulls the knee to the chest, I can use that to push and go this way. I can pull here, push, go that way, and there's a lot of different combinations you can do. Creating overextensions in the leg is a really powerful concept when passing. So one easy way to do this is when I'm here and he has my pant leg, I'm gonna control the pants here. And what I do is I just create a little push. And again, I like to use my palm often when I'm doing this. So I'm here and I create a little push. And whenever I feel that leg resist back, I overextend this. A lot of times I show this in like split passing where I kind of grab here and I lean on this, and that's very powerful. But sometimes if the guy's knee is really tight to him, it's hard to push this behind because his leg is so close. So what I do is when I'm here, maybe he's looking for my collar or something, right? I just get this little force, and as soon as I feel, I overextend this. And now start bringing your leg back. This is overextended. It's very hard to get back. And I can use this to start controlling here. I can trap the leg. If he doesn't have this yet and I'm here, I can grab this and now try to get that leg back up. He cannot recover this, and it makes it easy to step over and start going for knee cuts or to trap and go to half guard. Another good way I like to use this is when I'm passing and my opponent's on a side tilt here, I'll push in on this top leg a little, and when I feel the resistance back, I clear this to pop this leg behind, and now I can start dropping in for a knee cut. So the knee shield can be very annoying. Sometimes I'll even grab the knee like this, and I just create a little force here, and when I feel that resistance come back, it's easy to clear. If I'm here and I just try to pull, keep your knee tight, it's hard, right? But as soon as I start pushing and I feel that force, it's very easy to clear. Now, of course, here he can go into half guard and single leg positions, but if you're good at killing this, it's much easier than fighting an open guard. I can center up, start looking for an underhook or a cross collar and pass. I'm probably gonna do a full video at some point on the idea of overextension in general, so be sure to leave a comment if you guys would like to see that video in the future. The next one is perhaps one of the absolute most powerful, which is in combinations of knee cut and folding passes. So often when you're looking for a knee cut, you wanna open your opponent's hips a little bit to set up the knee cut pass. A common defense people will do is to tilt their knee towards the inside, so that's hard to do, and this exposes the folder. But when you mix these two together, you can create amazing attacking opportunities. A lot of times once I trap a leg here, I'll grab the knee, and I can even do this not from De La Riva, I'll show that in a minute, is I either look to open to go for a knee cut or push the leg to the side to go for a folding pass where I drop. But usually he's gonna give one. So if I'm here and I start to push the knee a little bit to the side, usually they don't wanna get stuck there, so they open their knee. But this makes it really easy to snap this open to go for a cut. So I can be here like this and he opens, and I can use this to shoot in and turn the hip. I can even use this with like a lapel. So I'm here and I turn and he starts opening, and it's very easy to go in. Whereas if I just started by only going here, he'll resist this back and it's hard. So now looking at setting up the folding pass, what happens here is I want to pull to go for a cut, exactly, and he starts resisting this way. If he doesn't resist, then sometimes I can pull and just go for a cut. But most people know you're doing that, so they resist back this way. So now I'm going to use the momentum of that to drive in and shove to one side, and I lock his hip to one side. From here, there's a lot of different finishes. I'm not going to go too deep on the folding pass. I might do that at some point. I'm going to grab the lapel so he can't come up on his elbow, and now I start dropping my chest and wrapping around the back. There's a lot of different finishes and ways to go to mount. An easy one here is I just use this shin to block both feet, and now I switch this shin over, I come around and pass to side. And also using the folder threat. With this grip, anytime I can push down on this knee, and when I feel them open back up, I can use that to turn his hip back to the center. So if I don't want to fight someone facing this way, I can do that and turn back in. Sometimes I can be here, and then I can even push and drop and go into folding pass positions here too. Really look at the game you already have, even if it's not to do a specific technique, just so many different places you can use this to create an off balance or to set up a grip. So I want to know how you guys find you can use it. If you have any creative ideas you want to suggest I can try out, be sure to leave it in the comment. And as always, if you guys like the channel, like, share, subscribe. Thanks a lot.